darkest of nights, in the coldest of days, it's our comfort. In the dark of night, the winds of change are night. Our freedom is a national trust. We fight for freedom and justice.
Rise, Queendom of Nix. We rise, we march, we fight, we live. Rise, Queendom of Nix. United we stand, divided we fall.
In the darkest of nights, in the coldest of days, it's our comfort. In the dark of night, the winds of change are night. Our freedom is unmatched and just we fight for freedom and justice.
Rise, Queendom of Nix.
We rise, we march, we fight, we live.
Rise, Queendom of Nix.
United we stand, divided we fall. In the darkest of nights, in the coldest of days, it's our comfort. In the dark of night, the winds of change are night. Our freedom is a national trust. We fight for freedom and justice.
Rise, Queendom of Nix. We rise, we march, we fight, we live.
In the dark of night, our freedom is unmatched and just we fight for freedom and justice.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Austin Elsler, and I am the King of Nix. I am here to discuss with you today about Queendom's first territory. Basically, what was our first territory? Was it a mass of land? Was it anything like that? Well, let me tell you. Every nation starts with land. So here's the question. What was the first territory of the Queendom of Nix? The answer might surprise you, because Nix didn't start with a kingdom-sized land mass. It started with a single home. To understand Nix's first territory, we have to go back to 2017, when Nix first began. At that time, there was no official territorial system, no provinces, no policies defining land ownership, just 3 founders and 1 physical property. Out of the 3 founders, only 1 had a place that could even be considered land under Nix, Queen Breckenridge I. Her home, a trailer, with very little land, became in practice the first physical space tied to Nix. It wasn't declared as territory yet, but looking back, that was the beginning. Early Nix wasn't focused on land expansion. It was focused on building identity, structure, and leadership. So the territory wasn't formalized. There was no system saying this land belongs to Nix, but there was a reality. Nix existed where its people existed. And that idea would later become the foundation for everything. In 2019, that idea finally became official. Through an executive action, when I was Prime Minister, a new policy was introduced. Home ownership equals territory. This changed everything. From that point forward, any property owned by a Nixian citizen could be recognized as a part of Nix. Not symbolically, but structurally. This was the moment Nix stopped being just a concept and started becoming physically grounded. So what does that actually mean? It means Nix doesn't rely on conquering land or purchasing massive plots all at once. Instead, it grows through its people. If a citizen owns a home, that property becomes a piece of Nix. Each home becomes a territorial node, connected but not necessarily touching. This creates a distributed nation, not one single block of land, but many pieces form a whole. As Nix grew, this system evolved even further. Individual properties didn't just exist on their own anymore. They became part of something larger. Provinces! And we have 4. So each province is made up of multiple properties owned by Nixian citizens, and those properties determine the province's total size, both in square footage and acreage, depending on where you live. So instead of drawing borders first and filling them later, Nix built its borders from the inside out. this system wasn't created randomly, it solved a real problem. How do you build a nation without traditional land? Well, Nix's answer was simple. You build it through ownership. They're real people, they're real property. It turns citizens into stakeholders in a very literal way. Their homes aren't just where they live, they're part of the nation itself. So, when we go back to the original question, what was Nix's first territory? Technically, the system didn't exist in the year 2017, but historically, it was the home of Queen Breckinridge I. And as of today, it still is, because they have moved twice now. Yeah, they moved twice now, and this is their, we are in their current house now. So, and it's a lot bigger, both inside and outside. So they got 2 big yards, so that's why our tomatoes in the province of Aries have gotten better. So, but to continue on, because that was the first place where Nix physically existed. Everything that came after, the policies, the provinces, the expansion, all trace back to the starting point. Nix didn't begin with borders. It began with people. And from a single home, it grew into something much larger. That's how Nix defines territories. Not by how much land it claims, but by where its people stand. Oh. So, there you have it. That is the story of the Queendom of Nix's very first territory. Started out as a trailer. I didn't have land yet. I was living with a family member at the time. I actually had no idea what the third founder, Chelsea, was doing the whole time, actually, at that time. Because, believe it or not, the 3 of us were actually distant from each other until 2017. So, the irony in that, we were distant, and then we got back together, and it's like, let's start a new country. It's like, okay. So, because we already talked about it in high school, so it's like, here we are as adults. About what? 2 to 3 years later after high school graduation, we thought about it, and like, let's do that. Okay. So, and that's how we began. So, yeah, Queen Breckinridge is the first territory, or first house per se, was the first territory of Nix. And even as time progressed a little bit, because it wasn't until 2019 is when we passed that policy, yeah, it was just Queen Breckinridge's versus property. That was the territory of Nix. So, now some of you might ask me, where did I get the idea to make such an executive order of the Prime Minister at the time? I actually got it from another YouTube channel called Geography Now. And since I have mentioned them, I will put the exact video of the exact channel in the link in the description of where I got that from. So Barb's the host of Geography Now. Great channel. I watch it all the time. I'm a big fan of it. He made an April Fool's video, which is a little bit ironic too. He made an April Fool's video. Oh gosh, I think the nation was called Vulcana. I don't remember. I'll put the video in the link in the description. Since I'm mentioning it, I'll put in the video link in the description, so that way you can look up the video where I got the idea from. So obviously we didn't copy the entire fake nation from that video, but there was an idea about citizenship and territory that came about in that video, and I thought about it. I'm like, well, even though this is a fake nation, that's actually not a bad idea to use. So I thought about it. It's like, and then I compared that idea with the Native Americans of today, how they do their trust lands and reservations, and I'm like, if they became countries tomorrow, their lands will still be divided, but yet they'll be connected. I think we could do that too. So that's where I got the idea from. Did my research a little bit, and then, consulted with the Queen and my executive advisors at the time. we decided to pass that executive order. And then later down the line, National Assembly, at the House of Representatives, and then went down to National Assembly. Both of those legislators, of two separate kinds, mind you, they both passed it. Therefore, it's been a law ever since. And then of course it remained law for a long period of time, and for good reason, because now it no longer needs to be an executive order anymore. It is now a law, or a statute in our case. Therefore, we don't have to worry about it being repealed and whatnot. So, and no one has a complaint about that law yet. So basically, if you're a homeowner, you actually own the home, whether you're paying mortgage on it or not, whether you're paying the oppressive property taxes or not. If you actually own the home, then that property becomes a territorial node of NICS. And I've explained this multiple times to both citizens and others that, if you become a citizen and your house or yard or whatever becomes a part of NICS, doesn't mean the government own it. No, that's not how it works. You still own your home. You're just under the jurisdiction and the flag of the Queendom of NICS instead of the home country you're part of. But wouldn't it be illegal? No, it's not illegal. In fact, you can fly the Queendom of NICS flag on a big flagpole just like the American flag, okay? Or the Canadian flag, or the Filipino flag, because those are the three countries we have land in. So, okay. Now, of course, though, unfortunately, if there are laws, whether it's state, provincial, that prevents you to fly these flags in the big fancy flagpole and whatever, just do it the legal way. Fly it however, right? But it's your property. Fly the flag however you want it. Just make sure you don't get in trouble with it. And here's what I mean, okay? If there is no law saying you can't fly any flag for some reason, right? Then first of all, it's stupid. First of all, the law is stupid anyway. But second of all, just fly the flag. Now maybe you don't want a flagpole. Maybe you want a porch flagpole. Something to put up against your front door or something. They can get on you for that one, because everybody does it all the time. There's people doing it with Ukrainian flags, and people are doing it with the pride flags, American flags. Everybody's doing it with porch flagpoles, right? So if you're more comfortable with doing that one, if you're a Nixian citizen with territory and whatever, do that. That's fine. I mean, in my opinion, I would fly it. I'd just fly it everywhere, honestly. So, yeah. But anyways, fly the flag. If you're a Nixian citizen, fly the flag. If you support us, fly the flag too. So, yeah. So, other than that, that is the information on the Queendom of NICS' first territory. I know I'm ranting off a little off topic. I'll try not to, but hey, that's what I do. So, this is King Elsler I of the Queendom of NICS, the one of three of the royal triarchs of the Queendom of NICS. So, just because I am a king does not mean I'm the king. So I might say the king a lot, so I'm just going to do that, because I am one of the faces, I am one of the sovereigns of the Queen of NICS. So if I end up just saying I am the king of NICS, so be it. But just to let you know, Queen Breckinridge I is still the Queen of NICS, and Queen Hutter I is also a Queen of NICS, and I, King Elsler I, is also a King of NICS. So there you have it. So hope that was educational. Hope you are now informed of the Queendom of NICS' first territory. A little history lesson about the Queendom of NICS and what we're doing with territories now. So, we have 4 provinces. We plan on making townships and, don't ask how, but cities as well. I'm not saying we're building them, but politically structuring them on how to build them, right? So, but that won't be like that'll be a long project further down the line. So, other than that, Ave Rex, Vivat Regum, and have a good day.
In the darkest of nights, in the coldest of days, it's our comfort. In the dark of night, the winds of change are night. Our freedom is a national just we fight for freedom and justice.
Rise, Queendom of this. We rise, we march, we fight, we live. Rise, Queendom of this. United we stand, divided we fall.
In the darkest of nights, in the coldest of days, it's our comfort. In the dark of night, the winds of change are night. Our freedom is a match, and just we fight for freedom and justice.